So, hopefully you've all had a good little chat about the film. And so I'm sat here now with Mykal Brown from Wassifa. In fact, Mykal Brown MBE. Some respect on his name. Alright, one of the founders, CEO, head of Wassifa Foundation and Wassifa Sound System. Can I just start by asking you your thoughts on that film? Come on now, what stood out for you? Be honest, yeah, exactly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, before I start here, so honor, respect and love. After the question.
What? I'll give you more time to think about your answer.
Let me get confident.
Yeah, so no, just asking you, like, what are some of your immediate thoughts? I mean, you heard the audience's reactions in parts. You know, what was your immediate reaction upon watching it?
Firstly, there's a lot of people that I know, and I grew up in Handsworth, and that was filmed around the corner from my mom's house, you know, like the next block. So a lot of people we had a school with or went to clubs with. So it was good, reminiscing back in time. You know, it's taken like a trade journey, you know, and I laughed at a lot of it in my mind.
What made you laugh?
What made I laugh? Not totally, the way the main person that was interviewed, Bull, I know him as Bull back in the day, he came across kind of hardcore, and I see people laughing, that's how he was talking, but that's how it was back in the day. So we're talking about 60s and 70s, it was about the tribulation and the time we grew up in, and it appears that we came across very forceful and direct. Nowadays people use it a little bit, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of ignorance in there as well, you know. When you go back to Africa where you be going to huts, like the cities, right?
You know, so well up to contain me back in the day.
Yeah.
So I reminisce and think, and that's kind of where, I'm not saying, if we interview Wassifa back then, it was slightly bit different, but I can understand a lot of the concepts from the brothers and sisters.
Okay, so that nicely sets the context of where we're going to go now. So we're thinking way back to the 70s, slightly before perhaps at that time, because I think we were like in the early 80s,
that
right?
Was 81.
Yeah, right. So Wassifa began in 1972.
Correct.
How did that come about? So there was you, Jamai and Jawe?
Yeah, my brother Jawe, Jamai, and Errol, Big T, Big John, not DJ Big John, and Motor Vehicle Big John. We all went to school, or we went to church together, and we were 11. Like I was 11, born in July, so I was one of the younger ones. Errol was also born in July. So it's the year we started secondary school. Yeah.
So you would have been, what, 10, 11?
No, 11, and so was 12.
Yeah.
But we were always in the same year apart from my brother, who was in 2 years ago. He was 13.
So that's young.
Yeah, that's how life was back in the day.
So were you, so you were 11 years old, and you were like, you know what, let's just start a sound. What were you hearing people? Were you going to dances? Like, what was that?
As I said, like the film, a lot of things started back in the 60s, 70s, yeah? So what happened, basically, if you look at all the singers, like from Dennis Brown, Gregory Isaac, Bob Marley, they all started when they was at either junior school and also secondary school, because that was what it was, you know? So when we took up the sound system cultures, because my parents came from Jamaica with that culture, you know, and all of us just grouped together. A lot of us went to church and scouts and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, school, and that wasn't learning us our education about ourselves to think positively. So it was coming with the music from Jamaica that was teaching us all these things and telling us to look at Africa, look towards Africa. We had we looked at Malcolm X, we were taught about Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and these are the things that was telling us positiveness about our people. Television, Tarzan, for example. I'm just going to use Tarzan for example. So I know a lot of people love Tarzan, but you see him beat up 100 black men. You must say that now, really. You know? So I'm just saying that to make you understand what we was actually watching. And in the schools they were saying that we were slaves. We was never slaves, we was people that was enslaved, which is slightly different. So these are the things that we was learning as culture from the age of, well, even before that, 7, 8, 9, coming up. Right? So it's slightly different to the young people now, even teenagers. All they do is live on the phone, not really researching their culture, identity, and not living discipline and morals. And we were taught a lot of that.
Yeah.
And what was coming out of Jamaica, we didn't have a square mile in Jamaica back then. We were told that we probably have 2 churches in every square mile. So Jamaica is populated that way. So we looked at the Bible and we listened to some of the reggae songs that was coming over and that was teaching us about our culture. And that's what we were growing up around. And it was just part of life, like these young people playing the games and all that.
I'm really struck by how wise you were all at such a young age. So what I'm hearing you say is that you all were reasoning through, figuring out life, teaching yourselves through the music, through the Bible.
But that can happen now with this generation. It's just that they're not talking around the family settings with that kind of concept. So it is still there for that to happen now. But they're just having fun and they're not really communicating. 4 children, like I teach at the college, so 4 children can be around the table, but rather than have a conversation, they're texting each other and they're just listen. And we see that all the time at the college and in schools. That's what happens. Even if you go back into your household, that's what they do. Someone's upstairs and they'll come down and have a conversation. They take somebody upstairs.
So it's for the older generation to kind of pass on what did happen, to change things?
Talk the story, but don't kind of dictate the story and let them understand. So it's both, each one, a young person can teach also, old somebody, old person, something, but it's about how you deliver it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I hear you completely. And I want to build upon that. So again, I'm seeing this wise group of young people coming together, reasoning, listening to the music and thinking, no, we know our identity, this is us. So then how was the actual sound formed? Because that would have cost some money, right?
Yeah, money, yes. We relied on our parents a lot back then. So I'll tell you how it started. It wasn't about we just magic up a sound system. Right? Sound system was a development of young people coming together, and what we did was, you know, sometimes in the community they must be building a lot of houses and stuff like that, so we acquired some wood.
Acquired?
I was told when I took this thing to come out with this, I have to talk kind of honestly and open and true, but I'm going to say we're not going to get ourselves in trouble. I don't want nobody in 2022. We didn't thief nothing, we acquired it. This is how it was. We acquired a lot of this waste wood. And if things was lying down in the community, we were told by the police back in the day. So you know, so we didn't have communication with the police. Things was not reported stolen for 6 months and it was lying there. You could go and ask for it. You understand? And the builders have had a lot of things to waste. So we talked to builders and all them things. So things we use and we make back boxes. So we get, you know.
Yeah, but how did you know how to do all of that?
How did we know? What it was, the parents talk, communication, and look, each sound was an individual sound. So our sound wasn't built like someone else. So we know so we have to build a box, but you design that box and you chose to design it. Put a speaker in it and you listen to it, and if it sound like that, you make 4 more boxes like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not. I'm thinking because I've been to quite a few of the events in the front room, and I've learned quite a bit from seeing all the equipment. So I'm thinking things like the amp, for instance. Like that looks complicated and very scientific to me. Like how?
At the older ones, then a lot of people coming from Jamaica. There's a big influx to the Windrush, and even though themselves, us are gonna use these subterms. Yeah, black people don't have sense. We did have a lot of sense. Yeah. We had culture, education and all that. We created a lot of things. If you take it back to when we were enslaved, not slave, enslaved, we was the one that was working on us. So we must know how to create things. People just was whipping us, but we try to make life easy for ourselves. So we create things to make life easy, you know, they was whipping us. You understand? And this thing about black people is always late. It's a myth. It don't really exist, so please do not take it on. Because what they would have done to a slave person, an enslaved person then, is want you to say walk from Handsworth to town and say you got 10 minutes to reach there. And that's not possible. You understand? Because they wasn't going to give you an arse and they're going to say you're going to escape. And when you come late, which you naturally will come late, you get a whip. But that was just to reinforce how you control people.
Yes.
You understand? So
Yeah.
they targets that, they was the one that was brainy, if you understand what I mean. If you show love, people will do work in it.
Yeah.
Just like when I'm at college, if I want students to work, I get a little playtime. When I say playtime, not literally.
Yeah.
But because I teach journalism and media, so what I do, they have one headphones and they can listen to the music, and the whole class can do that. But when I call attention, if they do not pay attention, you feel the wrath of Mykal. But not really, everybody at college say I don't shout, so I don't really shout, I just talk.
Okay. Alright, and we're going to come to the other things you're doing as well as Wassifa. I mean, just there's loads. And can I just say to the technicians, this mic is beeping, so I'm not sure if something's happening with it. So you became a sound, you started playing, and how did people initially receive Wassifa?
Well, back in the day, they received us quite good. I had a good 6 sisters, 1 brother. So we learned from an early age, you get the good women on side. You understand? And we had a lot of cousins which was female, so we invite them to the parties, or the dances, or the school things. And because I was small at school, right, I've been told, say, the girls, they was looking after me because I was small. You understand? So I get looked after, and then we talk nice with them, and they bring their friends. So if girls is there, the man will come in.
You know what, this kind of begs a question now from the movie, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Mykal, but I just got to ask the question. So, talking about the role of women and girls and that time, so how were the girls seen? Like, was it still a kind of equal thing, or were the girls there to kind of...
From the Wassifa perspective, everyone did it.
Okay, alright then. I just need to know.
Yeah, with 6 sisters, and
yes.
Okay. I'll be going to disrespect them. That now work.
That's encouraging to hear.
Alright,
so you... Thank you very much. So, okay, so you started doing local shows, but then you started touring?
I think they got Mykal. Before that, I just taken about to building the boxes and the electrical stuff. We became electricians, carpenters, and all that through sound system. We learned branding, marketing, all these things we learned through sound system. So don't want to think we just magic up and come. It was a trial and error type thing, and people was doing that at a young age. And if we didn't even know what we knew now, we would have bought it and resell it. But we didn't really benefit from it. But other communities benefited from what we were doing. The sound system came before these big PA systems now. So that PA system, what we're seeing up and down the country, around the world, stems from sound system, because the Europeans used to just have a little gram. You know what I mean? We have the blue spot gram, so you hear a lot about the blue spot gram in the black houses because it is sound heavier than the normal gram. But to us, we had to create a sound.
Okay, teach my young mind, and maybe some of them out there. The gram?
The gram, yeah. It was like a normal gram, but the blue spot one.
What's the gram?
The gram, the blue spot one is the one that have turntable gram, got a radio attached to it, and then in the front and the middle.
Okay. So am I the only one that doesn't know or didn't know what a gram was?
This video when it got out later on, so everybody that did know will know.
Okay.
Alright.
So learning, I can learn. So good. So going back to the whole idea of touring. So I know that there was a monumental event in 1982 when Wassifa won the cup.
Okay.
Tell me about that.
Tell you about that. Yeah. As I look in this direction, this is one of my friends over there, so from the other side. Anyway, Sifa, alright, big respect, alright, and he was Wassifa, still school time, there was a little behind us at school, in the sense of years. It was a clash between Eternal Youth, Wassifa, Sifa, and Jalaya, and we came out trumps.
Okay. And what was it about Wassifa that enabled you guys to win?
Well, there was different categories. There was quality, music, and MCs.
talk to me about some of those MCs, because they were quite well-known ones, right?
Yeah, they came after.
Yeah.
At that time it was Rastester and Jabai that was MCing for us. At the time before Maccabee and Patsu and Mikey Tough, even Bitsy McLean, he was doing it from school. You know, he was even younger than us, so, you know what I mean? Before they came on, so it was Desta. So the categories, as I said, 3 categories, and we won the 3 categories. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you know it already.
And I remember we had a chat about this before, because you were saying that quite a few of those MCs, they got their names from actually working with sounds and working with Wassifa specifically.
I wouldn't say specifically Wassifa. As I said, the culture came up from Jamaica. Before, because in Jamaica, yes, you would get things on radio, but not necessarily Rasta music, as in reggae music. It was things that was coming out from America that was more played in Jamaica. In the UK, definitely never get no music played on the radio, so the sound systems is where we all got our entertainment from. And if something happened in Handsworth today, right, you wasn't going to hear it on the telly unless it was negative. So the sound system DJs will turn over the selector, we'll turn it on the B-side, the version, right, and then play it, and the MCs will talk about what happened. Right. So messages go around like that, and people learn a lot in the dance hall.
So I want to know about the communication mechanism. So obviously we didn't have the phones like we have the phones now. Was like were the radio stations around then? Is that
the radio stations as well, but we wasn't privy to the radio stations.
Why not?
So it's, well, you could say, in this modern day, they say you didn't have the money to pay for it, but we was excluded from it.
I'm talking, are these like the not so legal stations?
No, they didn't have pirate stations.
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
so,
okay. I hear you.
Pirates was in our community in the 80s.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The early 70s when we started that, it wasn't like that.
So literally, people knew about the events through word of mouth?
Through word of mouth, and say for example, 2 blocks in Handsworth, one person else would have a phone.
Yeah.
So somebody would phone somebody, and then that little community we hear, so there's a blues or shubi was going on, or some church halls used to give us some rent. We used to, isn't it some years in some of the churches that used to give us a little back room so we can go and play. And then they fix it up for Sunday school.
And wasn't there no, that's interesting, because you know we heard of the film, and I know I heard it growing up. You know, this clash between, you know, I guess traditional Christianity and Rastafarianism. So did that not come into play?
It was always kind of there that the elders they wanted to come over to the UK. Clearly they got asked, and then they was facing their own tribulation, but it was a thing that put up and shut up and do the work for the European people. When Rasta come up for our generation, like I was born in 61, so when we were growing up, we would see the police was hassling us, the education in the school wasn't for us. Some of the church people, they was kind of okay, but they was also fighting us or suppressing us with our thoughts, and we were saying that it's not everything over here is good, right? And to be honest, back then a lot of us want to go. Even though we was born here, we called Jamaica home, and then we was learning that Africa is where we actually come from. So it was a combination of things to make us say, are we going to work with you or we're not going to work with you? So we was coming across kind of forceful, but you say when it's a rebel, the rebel with a cause, in a good way, and people try and follow.
So I'm interested also, because I know again within Jamaica, I remember going to Jamaica and hearing the backlash against Africans, as in not identifying with having that origin of being an African. So I wonder how did Rastafarianism, or do you think Rastafarian influence that conversation? Do you think because so many of the, I guess, other Jamaicans were against Rastas, that kind of solidified it, that they kind of wanted to move away from that African identity?
It's a funny thing, is like European education teaches us to divide, yeah? And within that division, we suppress our own people at the same time. So if you look at just the Caribbean, the different islands, yeah, even though they're close together, they're fighting each other. And that's how the European people kept us separated. Then, because we was looking towards Africa, we was the one, or reggae music I should say, because reggae is what pushed a a lot of things forward about the positive people. We learned a lot about Nelson Mandela, and it came up through the reggae music, and about the freedom fighting we had to do. Also when army situation was going on, and all this, because remember, I'm not going to just say European people, white people were suppressing us. Some of our people were suppressing our people as well, or disrespecting other people. But there was other reasons. European influences in Africa makes that happen. But that's a long story within its own self. And I would like people to research what really caused a lot of the tribulation back then. I even go further back to when we was enslaved, or even further back to the First Nations in any country, even Australia. Yes. Look at the traditional people from there. So I'm not just going to say it's just Jamaica, but I can talk about the world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my mind just went somewhere different.
No, it's not going anywhere. Or we just there to talk.
It's all relevant. But let me pull you back. So you were talking about venues and the fact that you got into the church, but I know that venues played a key part in the growth of Wassifa, and I know that Hummingbird was one of those places. So what was the relationship between Hummingbird and the growth of Wassifa?
Well, after we won that cup in 1982, Wassifa went on the road, when I said the road, playing across the UK for about 2 years. The reason is because when we was playing in Birmingham, what happened is that because we won the cup, you couldn't just play normally with another song, they want to clip your wing anyway. And we never really wanted that. We wasn't into that. So from that time, that's actually last time we were playing in a so-called clash. So we went on the road, up and down the country, touring and putting across our style and delivery. When we came back to Birmingham in the 80s, the first show we played on was at Hummingbird when Junior Reid, who used to sing for, well, it was Junior Reid singing for himself first, then he became the front singer for Blackstory after Mykal Rose, when they were, split up. So he took the front row. So Junior Reid, who else was on it? Don Carlos and Gold. And at that show, that was a big sellout. Not because of us, but because of the artist, Sugar. I was trying to think of it. I couldn't remember. You're good enough. You do your research.
It's in my notes.
Okay. You do your research. So some people come up here, come talk. So I have to be careful. Sugar mind that. Anyway, so that was the first one we done. And it was a sellout upstairs, downstairs, but we had the sound to cover the Hummingbird. So we had like 6 quad. Quad is, we're talking 6 quad. 6 quad is like 4 speakers in one box, so we had that spaced out. And the doubles, is we had 6 of that. Basically, and then we had some singles. So we have 40 bass speakers covering Hummingbird. Then we have the mid-range that goes on top of that.
And just pause for a minute, because how many people know of the Hummingbird? Make some noise. Make some noise if you don't know, you've never heard of it. Okay, it's important to ask that question because we're assuming, or I'm assuming, that everybody knows about it. So if you could just explain what the Hummingbird was and what it meant to Birmingham.
It was a big venue. It wasn't even just for Birmingham, it was the first black-owned club in the UK like that. And it took like about, them say legally, probably 3,500, but we get 15 more than that. All people were 15 more, because we were close contact. So we were very close contact.
That was Dale End.
Dale End in town. It's now called the Forum. It's called the Forum. Before that, Carlin.
Top Round.
That's when Bob Marley did come over back in the day. Like them people know things.
Okay, and then you also went on to the Porsche Club. That again, that was quite cheap. You remember the Porsche Club? I think I was there when I wasn't supposed to be there, but I remember just
that's every Friday we used to be there. Every Friday. Lovers Rock, soul music and reggae.
And every Friday you were there, right? Every Friday. Okay. So let's talk about Wembley, because again, that's quite a massive venue. So you guys came out of Birmingham and formed this sound, you toured around, you did your thing at places like Hummingbird, but then you got to Wembley? How?
The first show we done in Wembley was celebrating Bob Marley's passing, where his children done an event there. celebrating 30 years of that. And we were the only sound system they invited to play. Our road manager,
And why was that? Because again, there would have been a number of different sound systems around the UK doing their thing. Why Wassifa?
Originally it was Shaka, but I won't go into the backroom talk with that, with all respect. It just became Wassifa to play, and that's because we was diverse in our music delivery. You know what I mean? And our road manager was also managing the production for that. It was Jamai.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. The quiet powerhouse.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Jamai. So, all right. So let's move on. In 1998, Wassifa created the Youth Project. So, so clearly there's always been strategy. Whenever I've spoken to you guys, I know that you're always thinking about the future, you're always thinking about legacy and what you're going to leave behind. So clearly from that younger age, you were also thinking about all the different things that Wassifa can do. So you created the Youth Project. Talk to me about the thinking behind that.
That came about when I started teaching at the college in 98, and about family business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good here, right?
After what you say, yeah? You say, yeah? No, when I said the family thing, it's not negative.
No.
But, alright, grew up in Handsworth. We have 5 sons. We have 3 daughters. So within that, growing up in Handsworth, I didn't want them to just leave school and be on the wrong road. You can easily get caught up in things, negative things, you know. So we started a youth project when I first started teaching. So we registered with the college, and we started writing the OCN for the college and the HND courses for the college, because I was brought in the 90s. Well, I went back to uni first, and during that time when I was doing my dissertation, I looked at how the best way basically to educate our people. So I chose to do it the way I would have liked to engage with education. So I started writing the OCN course, so it was radio, broadcasting, TV, newspaper journalism. So that's when I wrote the OCN with the college in mind, and also the HMD. Got some other community people to come and work with us to do that, like Pauline Bailey, who her son-in-law owns Legacy now, which was previously the Drum. So we got a lot of black people to look at how to deliver best to our people. So that's how we started the youth project.
That's huge.
You know? And it worked, it's still working now because the college is using that format. 24 years later, we're still using that same format.
I'm going to move on because I know we're going to have an interval and we're going to come back and ask questions from the audience. So I'm just going to get a few quick things in. So in 2000, the year 2000, that was also another big year for Wassifa, because you had gigs like with P. Diddy, Jennifer Lopez. You know, again, how?
Jamai, our road manager, what was happening is all the big companies, yeah, that's NEC, Jamai, up and down the country, because of our production skills, and he was the one, I played the song, he looked at dealing with all the artists and that, so we made good contacts, and so they chose to say, if their man is on board, we'll work with them.
Yeah.
So P. Diddy, we got him to come over with Jennifer at that time, because we said, please talk about just education. That's all we wanted to come to the college and talk to the youths about. So he chose to do that when he was touring.
Yeah.
So he came to the college, we had to keep it under wraps, came and talked to the young people.
That's amazing.
And that's how we got into that.
Can you imagine that, like now, like somebody as big as P. Diddy coming to talk to students? That's
so that's what we've done. We've done it also through Jamai with Destiny Child when they just started.
Yeah.
And we almost didn't get them because we booked them before, and the month they were supposed to come, they had a #1. And with that, what happened is that if you get a #1, everything shut down.
Yeah.
But they just said, because you just like them, they'll come, they do the show, they do the tour, and that's how it works. So it works hand in hand.
I can only imagine the influence that experience has had on young people's lives. So you see the importance of having this conversation right here? Like, it's huge. Alright, so moving forward, 2015 is when the TV show started, and that's when I got the opportunity to, interview some massive artists, and I remember at the time, such as Freddie McGregor, Joyce Sims, Kirk Franklin, quite a few of them. And I remember you saying that it's really important to tell our story and of the excellence that lives within our community. Again, talk to me about the thinking. I know it's obvious, but I just want to hear from your voice. What is it? What was the thinking behind that?
Okay, when that came about, this is Birmingham TV. Yeah, they were getting a license, so we asked them if we could document what they were doing and how they keeping our people out of the system or not. So they said they can work with us and document it, and they were going to include us. We originally wasn't supposed to do a show, but during the time we kind of got to know them. They said, "We'll use a sound system, come and just play music." So we said, "No, we don't want to play music, we want to do," spoke to you about educate. I'll get all the artists to come on, but I don't want them to sing. I want them to talk about our culture, identity and all that. And if you notice, the European system don't really want me to come across positive with speech. We're just to party, we're just to run, play football and all them things, not talk and make positive delivery. So I told them if I do one show, right, can I do a week? If they're comfortable with it, they say okay. So what I done, no disrespect to any other culture, I went out and got black camera person, black editor, black producer, black everything, black researchers, black everything. Young people to shadow everybody what was of those important roles. Then I went to the churches like Bishop Webley and said, we want to interview you, talk about education. Not necessarily the church, but just about how you came into things. We went to several churches that happened. There's lots of different people. And we said, we just want speech. We got Freddie McGregor, Maxi Priest to come on, talk about education, more than sing. We done that and they were comfortable because we kind of played that middle road. Yeah? That can benefit our people, but benefit the Europeans as well. Because they're starved up us as well, you know. It's not their fault, a lot of them don't understand that we're great. It's not their fault, it's the system suppress them as well. So they need to fix up that their people can be also fixed mentally and other ways.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's how we got to do that. Then they took us for 9 months to 10 months and they gave us another show which my son JB and Ishmael kind of presented. So we've done that project and that run alongside the Caribbean show, but one shadowing as a youth movement.
Yes. Yeah. 2 TV shows. Yeah. And an MBE. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna finish on this piece. So what was the year that you got? It was about
2018.
2018. So 2018 you awarded your MBE. So if you could just explain. Well, we know that's obviously for the work that you've done within the community, for young people. Just talk to us about what that actual experience was like.
At the palace?
Yeah.
At the palace.
Or what it meant to you. What did it symbolize for you?
When I first got the letter, first I had to ask my daughter, Jamila, is that a stamp on? I think somebody was messing about.
Yes.
Because that's what it goes. You don't expect something to come from Parliament or Buckingham Palace. You don't expect it. So. And it's not that's something you have to like, it's not something where you go and get educated to get. It's something that just come because other people look at what you value and stuff. And even though they say I'm the front man for Wassifa, there's a big team with respect. There's a lot of us. So yes, I'm the front person, but we have a lot of females around us to enable us to go forward. And we have to respect that. Like yourself, we got Ranking Bear, we got Audrey, Blackstory Partnership, she's a director, and that we got Elaine, we got Audrey at the college. So Audrey at the college, she runs all the estates for Southern City College. So we use that structure from the college in Wassifa. Do you understand? Yeah. So when we deal with, I was on Choice FM, that became Galaxy and now Capital. So for media, we use that structure within Wassifa. So people, we're not keeping the things to itself. We talk to the sound them, and we tell them how to come across in this modern time. And it's up to them whether they pick it up. You know, you throw the corn out and people pick it up every man and bring our ass to water. don't yeah, wasn't for you know what I mean? So, so going back to this MBE, sometimes I got that way.
So we're with you.
But I like to map things and bring things together, you know what I mean? So with the MBE, so my daughter said, yeah, it looked real and all that stuff, and go forward a little bit, spoke to my family, because if this was in the 60s, 70s, you know, so they're not taking no MBE. Right, but life, 20 years after we start the road, 2018, we looked at our community mentors and all that. Then we look at it back in the day, Haile Selassie, Rastafari, went to Buckingham Palace, and he was a king. So when I look at this, and I said, okay, if you can do that, I can do that. If he was alive or around, and I'm using it that everyone can understand, because it's not Rasta people here, so I have to talk that they can understand. So I'm saying, when he was alive in that sense, alright? Who would it call? Would it be somebody that don't have education on the road to represent Ethiopia, or Abyssinia? And I use them titles because people call Ethiopia different things. So that's just history for you to research as well. Don't just listen to me and say, yeah, that's so and so, I'm going to talk it, you know, research it. Okay? And look at it and say, well, if he can do that and they follow his doctrine, follow Marcus Garvey doctrine, Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, all these great leaders, I have to step out and go and do something myself.
Yeah.
And not just fight and suppress and say, why Babylon this and Babylon that. No, because if I'm not doing something, my children, my grandchildren, not going to learn nothing. The community around me not going to develop.
Yeah.
And we talk too much. We need to get up and go and do. Not everybody who is just going to check for me having an MBE, but please ask them what have they done. You understand? And it's not about showing off on people, it's about just getting up and going and do.
Yeah, and I think it's a perfect example of the fact that, Rastas are not a monolith. You know, I was thinking that when the film was on, there are different groups of people with different thought patterns, and you know, that's the road that you took, which is commendable.
Good evening. I'm curious where the name came from. That's my only question.
Wassifa, I always ask.
I don't normally ask, and I forgot. It's a good question.
Wassifa, Valley of Decision, and that's how we looked at it back in the day. Because as I said, back in history, we read the Bible, we grew up in church. I'm a Christian, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I'm a Christian. That's how I grew up. Holy Trinity Church, I'm going to give them a little boost. In our Trinity Road, Birchtree Road corner, that's where I went to Sunday school and church and scouts and all that. But as I said about Jamaica, we might have two church and all that kind of stuff. Jehoshaphat, that's where Wassifa comes from. Jehoshaphat is in the Bible. There's a King Jehoshaphat, and also it talks about a valley of decision, Jehoshaphat. When you hear Bernie Spears sing about Jehoshaphat, or Max Romeo, the revived songs, it appears and it sounds like they say Wassifa. So as youths have the 11 and 12, Valley of Decision, down in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. But it sounds like down in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. You understand? So as youths 11 and 12 and that, so that's where it really comes from. So we wanted an African name for our sound system with respect to other sound systems. We wanted to sound black African, and we kept it. In the 80s, this is for the young lady who asked the question, in the 80s and 90s, when we came back to Birmingham, some sound systems could start to play some other kind of music, not necessarily culture. And what happened is that they tell us to drop the name Wassifa and change up some little Scarface music, Scarface name and like that. And I said, no, we're going to keep the colours, red, gold and green, or green, gold and red, and our identity. And we started playing our all days in Hummingbird, 3,500 people, so we played soul, we played lovers rap, and we pushed our culture that way and stuck to our name. So Wassifa, Valley of Decision. Okay.
Great question. Obviously, the answer isn't I used to think it was like, Wassifa.
That also come up. That was a lot of things as well. What it means, Wassifa, and all that. So it's ghetto bantering. You know what I mean? Ghetto in a good way. When I use the word ghetto, not necessarily the negative part of ghetto.
You. All right. Who's next? This lady here in the white top here. I'm thinking it might be good to take a couple of questions and then come back to you.
I'll
I'll
remember.
remember. So we'll take 2 questions. So one from this lady. Who else would like to ask a question? Anyone nearby this lady here? Listen, what's going to happen is you're going to hear these questions, get ideas, and you're going to want to ask a question. Time's done. So remember, please do ask your questions while you've got the opportunity. Go forward.
Yeah, at the beginning of the film, it was set up as if, you know, that sort of documentary was done to try and figure out the mystery of the sort of jar people, and, you know, because they may have been scary or unknown to, you know, the people that they were living with. So my question really is, how was that film received, if you know, and what did it mean for the Handsworth community to see themselves, you know, represented on film?
To be honest, I didn't even get to watch it back in the day. You know, this is actually the first time I've seen it. I heard about it, and as I said previously, when Rebecca was asking the questions, there's different type of, Rasta is Rasta, yeah? But there's different belief systems within that. Just like Christian churches, right? There's like Church of God, Church of Prophecy, Church of Everything, yeah? So there's different sects and belief. There's Naya Bingley, yeah? There's Obojed, there's Federation, there's 12 tribes, but all of us supposed to be with love at the end of the day, yeah? So bearing that in mind, there was talks about this, and it was more about they didn't want people to come across in the Handsworth area and Aston, Newtown, Lazarus, where a lot of us kind of moved on, about the disrespect to women. A lot of people did say, I hope the world don't take it badly, that people portray women as second-class citizens and all that. I remember that kind of conversation, but I never see it. And I could see how people were doing that, you know? So hopefully with understanding in this modern day, people will see, and that's why I made my first statement, that was take it in the time of what it was, 60s, 70s type of thinking, and people came across more raw or like angry, you know what I mean? Because I'm angry, but I have to deal with it in a different way, yeah? Hope that answers your question. Sorry I didn't watch it back in the day.
All right, who's next? No, you got a question. Ah, there we go. You made it in the back there. Thank you for making yourself known.
Mykal.
So like a deep question.
No, it really isn't. I think your passion is so obvious, yeah, and your purpose is really, for me, inspiring. Yeah, in terms of, you know, your purpose of actually, you know, sharing your culture. You love the music, but still edifying young people. So I want to ask you, yeah, as we've got the theme Front Rom, yeah, what are the things that you've taken from your mother or father that have taken you on this journey? Yeah, that have, you know, got you to where you are now?
Okay, discipline, respect, morals, all them things come from our parents. And my elder families, my uncles, aunties around us, so we grew like typical Jamaican way, you know, like there's Wassifa was, but it's still one thought, one aim, one destiny, you know. So we took on a lot of that discipline, and we hope to carry that through the Wassifa train. And with our friends, who's also part of Wassifa, being on our journey, we look at hope that everyone that's around us is taking on that kind of mental thinking, not necessarily my thinking, but love, unity, yeah, and that. Okay.
Great question, thank you. Who's next? What about the gentleman in the house? Thank you. Thank you, sir. So there's a question right here in the middle. You were just waiting for me to say that, weren't you? He's got his hand up in the middle. You might want to, help Chris by passing the mic along. Thank you. Are we coming back to you afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just listening to you, you've really impressed me as a male with the legacy that you've sort of laid on your journey. So as a male, if I wanted to, as it were, come on
there's lots of systems. As I said, we follow the college where I work at, we look at the structure and we follow that structure as in Wassifa. As I say, in entertainment and broadcasting, we follow what Choice FM, Galaxy now, Capital Radio, we follow that kind of thing for media outputs. But if you want to get in touch with us, Blackstory Partnership, you can take our number after, or Wassifa Facebook inbox us. Yeah. One of my daughters is over that side, and my son over that side who plays the sound with me. Or there's Elaine just over there, even Becky. It's easy to get in touch with us. And it's not just about young people, it's about the elders as well. And as I said, and it doesn't have to be like you're thinking about Rasta. Rasta is just life and love and unity. We're the only sound system that played in the Church of God on Lazarus Road for Bishop, where we're 4 years fundraising, and we play from up on the altar too. You understand? But we play Christian music. You understand? And I like the old type Christian music, 60s, 70s, you know, that kind of music, right? And that's what we played and delivered on church full over full. And I'm not going to disrespect any of the Christians, not going to disrespect Muslims, not going to disrespect Sikhs, Buddhists. I love everyone. And Wassifa loves everyone.
So you're welcome.
Yeah. So we can work, talk, easy to connect. Or Digbeth. Catch me at Digbeth. Just leave a message at the college and you'll name my number. That goes to anybody, by the way.
Thank you for your question. Okay, so we have another gentleman over here.
Yeah, hello Mykal. Don't worry. I grew up like you in the 60s and built sound system and all that, you know. But what I'm going to ask, which sound did you actually look into? Because in my time, we went to Jamaica City and Mafia tour and all that, you know. So which sound was your sound?
We've been father. We come through similar stable. 90% of the sounds in Birmingham come from the Handsworth area still, right? So all of them go, we see each other, we are at school with them. But as a trail, I would say Massigan, then Naya, and then us. That's my trail. My brother was in Naya also. Massigan and that was them we went to school, but they was older than me. So most of the youths they used to follow Massigan, then Naya, and then us. Yeah, that's our route. Okay.
Thank you. Now, before we have the next question from the next adult, give you time to think. Children who are in the room, I'd like you to think about what you might want to ask, because you're kind of in the presence of, well, you are in the presence of someone who's really special, who's done lots of things, exciting things with their life, with his life. So if you've got anything you would like to ask Mykal, feel free in a moment to put your hand up. So give me time to think, and parents and people around them, help them out. So next question. We're finishing up soon, so ask them now. Thank you. This gentleman here in the white t-shirt.
Good evening, thank you. Historically you've done a lot and it's accomplished a lot through the sound system and Rastafari in the background of that driving, that accomplishments that you've achieved. Where do you see the future of the sound system and the black culture going forward in terms of how we perceived through social media, the public, all those social political issues that we address and are likely to face going forward?
That's a big question. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Nice question still. Okay, I'm gonna answer it this way. Sound system clearly has changed a lot over the years, yeah, to when we did first come. Sound system now become the European PA system, yeah? People are delivering things totally different. I would say that on our own, there's more white people and Asian people playing traditional style of sound system compared to our people. Because our people gone more into the DJing singly, that kind of way, yeah? So the culture has shifted, yeah? So there would always be room for sound system, probably a different way for the black people that's traditionalists, but the traditionalist sound system, if you understand traditional, the one that follow the old school, they need to come across in this modern time and present it modernly. In the sense of, alright, now you need pack testing and all them kind of things. So you need to go into, say, the rep theatre, you need to have a health check to come in here and play. But the traditional sound systems don't want to do that. So they're going to become dinosaurs, all thing. And new people coming up, fitting into that category, so they're taking the forefront with sound system, repackaging it, selling it back to our people. We're the foundation of it. So I think our people now is guilty of not progressing. Because people tell we say we switch up the thing, but we haven't. We have our sound system that is touring with the museums up and down the country. Yeah? So we know the art of that. We put on the production for 0121 like was at Aston Park. Right? There's a structure that you have to sit down with the SAC team to say, alright, the ambulance, the fire, the police, and make sure you tick the boxes and the correct way to enable you to play in front of thousands of people. Back in the day, we just used to wire up to them, string up and put two brown cable together. You can't do that, you have to go through a health check. And you have to do it fairly and respectfully, because you have people life in your hands. That time back in the day, boy, I was just doing it, you know? Sometimes I have to talk like that to make it. Because I try to put you up the top and gone a different way. So sometimes you have to go old school, alright?
Yeah.
So apologies to who don't understand. Well, if you put up your hand, I can readjust it. Don't mind that, cool.
Is that?
Oh, that was alright, is it? Did I miss out something?
No, question was kind of
make me correct it. Did I miss out something, say it and I will adjust it.
The mic's coming, the mic's coming back.
The mic coming back. We like to,
when everybody's
like in the classroom, you have to make sure the students understand something.
Hello. It was what your thoughts might be on the future in terms of contribution, continuing the legacy, basically. That's already been established from the sound system.
From Wassifa or in general?
In terms of the contribution to the way we address the issues in our culture.
Well, things like this is addressing hopefully is addressing it. Yeah? We've got another project with Wassifa at with the National Trust at the back-to-backs, yeah? So that's targeting a different audience to this audience. But our message is going out the same way from the sound system. Or other sound systems look and go, oh, we can do that. I'm glad they are what we do. Alright, we do things with the Birmingham Museum. We got part of the canal in Birmingham, 3 miles of it from the ICC right up to Smedic that we kind of adopted. We don't own it, we adopted. That's been smart, working with the waterways. Alright, and that's because it's a neutral ground, and then our people can enjoy the healthy walking and all that. So we put our name in different places. Just like the college, working there 24 years teaching, but I read courses to and registered it Wassifa. So our legacy as a sound system will go through. We've done the same with Choice FM, is we put the structure as our music library. Start Choice FM in Birmingham, and it became, after Galaxy, now it's Capital. You understand? So that way, if other songs and things like that, it will work. And our legacy will always go forward. Yeah? That little better?
I think it's well established. Like I said, you're always talking about legacy, and so those are just perfect examples of how you're doing that. And it's clear that you find it so important to connect to the young people, because obviously they're coming up next. Talking about young people, any questions from any of you? Anybody want to answer that question? Anyone? One more question. Oh, yeah, got a question here in the back jacket. Go on. Go on, give him a round of applause. Young man in the black jacket. This will be the last question. Yeah? Oh, well done. We're coming with the mic for you.
Okay. Did you tell him to ask a question?
Yeah. Alright, last but one question. Go for it. Stand up so we can see you, please. Go on. No, alright, listen, enough, you got the mic. Go for it, go on. best question.
As a young black male, education is first. Respect your parents, your grandparents, listen to the stories, and present it in the future for yourself. And always respect everyone that's around you. And if you see people doing wrong, don't go with them. Try to change their concept and mind thinking. Yeah? And love everyone.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Alright, there is one more question from this young man down here. And this really is the last question because I want you guys to get up and, you know, join the front room. So here we go.
It's a comment really, and I should have said this earlier when I was speaking. I grew up in Midlands and Handsworth during the 80s and 90s, and the legacy you talk about, you know, it was a period of emancipation for us as a person of Bangladeshi origin. You know, we miss what happened in the 80s and the 90s were periods of riots and racism, aggression. It was down to people like yourselves who took a stand against that hatred, and that's a true legacy for us, because for me that was emancipation for us as communities, to say, you know what, we can do it for ourselves, and here we are today at the Rep, so it's a comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. Mykal, you know, I'm always humbled when I'm speaking to you, because you are a humble man. But there's so much behind you, and I know it's not just yourself, but it's a whole team of people that are leaving a massive legacy for the people of Birmingham, for young people, for people, not even just UK-wide, but worldwide. And Dawn from Legacy WM has got a little something for you. It's not quite an MBE, but if I can, I'll just give it to you. But it is here, just to say thank you so much for your contribution. It's a plaque, Okay? So, you know, truly, thank you, because you inspire me all the time. There we go. I don't know if you don't see that, but if you can come and get a picture with him later.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think really what the message is how do we kind of, I've been asking myself that question really, is like, okay, you as one person, as a group of people are leaving such a massive legacy. What do we do? What's our contribution? What if there was, you know, I don't know, there's 100 people in here. If we were all doing the type of thing that you were doing, how much would that affect the community? So I think that's what we need to leave with.
Yeah, it will spread much faster and much broader. Yeah. And there will be a lot more love within the local community, and everyone wouldn't be frightened of each other. Just communicate and love each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you, Mykal. Again, I just want to thank all the Legacy WM, I'm going to forget now because I can't see my nose, but the Rep, it's all here. We Are Parable for the movie, the National Lottery, and everybody, pick you all up. Thank you. Audience, thank you so much.
Wassifa Front Rom.